Hardik, thank you for joining me today. It's a pleasure to have this conversation with you. Uh, before we start our conversation, Hardik, I would appreciate if you can take few minutes to give us a brief introduction about key focus areas of GXC and your role at GXC.
Thank you, Hema, for inviting me for this chat. My name is Hardik Jain. I am one of the co-founder and CTO of GXC. I'm based in Austin, Texas. At GXC, we are providing a private 5G solution, and we do provide a full end-to-end solution, which includes the full network stack, including RAN, core, network management system, devices, etc. And we work with our customers, which are integrator, MSPs, direct customers, in enabling private 5G use cases for them. Like, for example, enabling applications that they were not able to do before, but now with private 5G connectivity, they can now make it happen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Hardik, for that introduction and about GXC and your role at GXC. So let's start with our first question. Can you elaborate on how private 5G networks are leveraging capabilities and applications of generative AI within an enterprise environment?
Yeah, I'd say private 5G is our thesis has been that especially in industrial environment, both for indoors and outdoors, enterprises have had wired connectivity for last 4 decades. Like Ethernet has been around for last 4 decades. Wi-Fi has been around for last 2 decades. Both and they've been surrounding other technologies, but there has not been a wireless technology that is high throughput, low latency, connecting multiple devices, etc. And so private 5G really allows enterprises to connect things, right? And have these things that generate a lot of data, be able to transport that data, and then with that data, you can enable tons of AI applications. Examples being, for example, think of a welding machine in a manufacturing facility. Up until now, that machine was unconnected, and if you were to connect every welding machine, there will be tens of thousands of foot of wired connection. Right, wireless makes that connectivity possible, and then now you can like collect data for every weld, every temperature of every weld, like all the data associated with it, and then use that to do analytics on it, to create digital twin, to create like generative applications on top of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So are there specific industries that are benefiting more from integrating private 5G networks with generative AI?
I would say industrial, manufacturing, warehouses, construction are some of the key verticals that are benefiting the most. And the reason for that is because these are environments with they either have challenging RF environments. Think of warehouses which are cold storage, right? So they use a lot of metal and insulation to keep everything cool, and hence create like low penetration for like public network. So you need a private network. And so those are benefiting more from Product 5G, because for them this is the first time that they're getting reliable wireless connectivity. And that's where like penetration of some of these AI applications are happening. And specifically, these industries also are moving towards autonomy in general. So robots, autonomous forklifts, autonomous construction vehicles, conveyor belts which are automated. In fact, there are warehouses that are all automated, where there is a close coordination between task management, that okay, if this robot came with this particular item that it picked from a shelf, it has to be given to this particular worker. So all of those control and coordination and all the orchestration requires like pretty robust connectivity, right? And Prat 5G to some sense makes that happen in these challenging environment, and it really hits to the key attributes of Prat 5G networks, which is wide bandwidth, low latency, more and more number of devices, supporting devices which could be as small and low power as sensors to as high power devices like uploading LiDAR point cloud from a robot or from a forklift. So it's really an all-encompassing type of a tech and architecture that's providing its benefits for some of these industries.
So when you deploy private 5G networks and generative AI, what are some of the key challenges as well as some of the opportunities you see when integrating these two technologies?
I would say we are deploying our solution where connectivity has been a big challenge to enable some of these applications. Like in the like we talked about, if a warehouse has a warehouse management system, providing and that is leveraging AI or is built on AI, providing connectivity to that. And some of the challenges will be like, okay, how the network can facilitate some of these applications, and the network becoming part of an enterprise's network infrastructure. But in the sense, what we are seeing is some of these AI applications are becoming the driver for adoption of Private 5G. It's like, if I want some level of autonomy, I need a robust network. I need a Private 5G network. Otherwise, this is not happening. And folks have tried before using Wi-Fi or in some cases Bluetooth, etc. And have had some success with it, but not had like a full, like a robust application. Especially in outdoor, it starts to fail. And so Private 5G becomes the choice of a wireless network that they would need for some of these applications.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's more like if they want to get into generative AI applications, having private 5G
Yeah,
is the choice of technology to enable that, if I hear you.
yeah,
So coming to
correct. Yeah.
GXC perspective, how do you see GXC helping the enterprises in adopting private 5G networks as well as integrating with generative AI?
Yeah, so we provide a full solution. It's a turnkey solution. We provide like a full private 5G network stack to enterprises, and then we also help them integrate, or we help them with making sure that the network helps run that application. So whether it be designing the network, changing the control and configuration for the network to work, etc. So so we work with enterprises. We also work with enterprises service providers. Like, for example, they may have a partner that provides them with the network infrastructure. We work with them.
Mhm.
We work with application vendors. We also work with device vendors, um, uh, just to make sure all of these things work with each other. And so kind of for application level, it kind of gets abstracted.
Yeah.
For application folks, it's like, okay, I can assume that I have a robust network and can start to build the applications on the top, like AI applications on the top, or autonomy applications on the top.
Thanks, Hardik.
Mhm.
Hardik, looking forward, um, what future developments do you see in context of integrating private 5G networks with generative AI?
I see. Um, um, I can start with an example of, like, for example, if you take full self-driving or autonomous robots. Autonomy is going to be a big theme for AI, but also it's going to be a big theme for private 5G.
Mm-hmm.
And autonomy means things doing work on their own.
Yeah.
And to do that, they would need to process a lot of data,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And to process a lot of data, they need a lot of compute power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they may have capability to have a lot of compute on themselves. Sometimes they may have to offload compute. So take an example of a drone. We can't put a GPU on a drone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or a very powerful GPU on the drone. However, if the drone had very good connectivity, um, the drone can offload some of the compute
Yeah.
to a nearby GPU, and so there'll be a lot of applications like this, or powerful applications like this that will get enabled. Same with robots. Um, Same with other devices in these environments where connectivity kind of makes enable some of these things to happen easier.
Thank you so much, Hardik, for
Mhm.
giving us all the insights on integrating private 5G networks and generative AI. That was my last questions. So thank you very much again.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you for